So, yesterday I heard something about a practice that is apparently quite common in schools, certainly primary schools now, and it shocked and concerned me in equal measure, if I'm honest. And I'll explain a little bit later why it resonated with me probably this week more than ever. And then, ironically, this morning, something that I hadn't even thought about that was even more concerning actually popped up on my social media feed. So, for anybody who doesn't know, my name's Lisa. I'm a home educating mum of two. We have been electively home educating for nearly 5 years now. Before I go any further, I just want to make it clear, just so that before user 178946 gets their finger at the ready to start typing away avidly. Obviously, I home educate, so I am very pro home education, but I do just want to make the point that I'm not anti-school. I think educational wise, it's a choice like everything else, and if a school setting is right for your children, then that's exactly where they should be. And if home education or homeschooling is the right setting for your child, then that too is the setting that I genuinely believe that they should be. So I just wanted to clear that up before I go any further. So the story is that I went to the hairdressers yesterday, sat minding my own business, couple of rare child-free hours, and I was sat typing on my phone just listening to the conversations going on, and a lady in there was saying that her little girl attends the local primary school. She started reception in September, and she said, I must go into school actually because I've not been getting the pictures like I should have been. And the hairdresser said, when our little ones were at that school, we used to get pictures all the time, pictures of them doing sports or, lessons or whatever they were doing. And she said, no, she says, I haven't had any. She says, I got one on the first day, but other than that, I've not had any. And it sort of piqued my interest a bit because I thought there is no wonder that teachers are absolutely just swamped and are literally pushed to the limit if they are having to take pictures of individual children to send to parents every day to say, obviously, this is what your child is doing. I mean, it is a good thing, but I thought that must be like quite a lot of work, plus then having to send the picture to the parent and things like that. So literally, as they were having this conversation, her phone pinged and she said, oh, blimey, that's making me look like a liar. I've just received a photograph from the school. And with that, her phone went a couple of times. And the hairdresser said, what's she up to? What's she doing? And when she opened the text, she said, false alarm. She said, it's not even my daughter's class. She said, it's actually not even her year group. She said, it's actually years 2, 3 and 4. So she says, my daughter's not even in it. So, I will have to go into school. And I thought, oh my goodness, this parent has been sent pictures of other children. And evidently it's not just obviously your child, it involves other children as well. And these pictures are being obviously just sent out on like an automated text system, or unless that was a blip in the system, I don't know. But even the photographs that she'd had of her daughter, they weren't actually just of her daughter, they had other children in them. Now, it did seem that nobody else in the hairdressers really had any sort of concerns or anything about this, because obviously if you send your children to school, it's something that you obviously know about, and that's just what happens. But the reason why it really resonated with me was because I'd done a post earlier in the week on Monday about the fact that home education is just as much of a choice as sending your children to school. You don't have to check with anybody, you don't have to apply for anything, you don't have to be a teacher, you can just home educate your children. And I got a bit of a barrage of comments saying how concerning it was, and how, yes, this is true that illiterate child abusers can home educate their children. And there was another one that said, and I responded to it on here, surely that, breeds predatory behaviour, because if children can't be monitored in a school system, then, who knows whose hands they're going to kind of fall into. And I absolutely took all that on board, and I responded to people and ended up having like a really good conversation over message and different things with a couple of people, which was really, really good. But then it did get me thinking that, people are really quick to judge home educating and homeschooling families. And a lot of the time, that's one of the first things that comes, to mind, that's, oh, well, you don't want to send them to school, who's going to monitor them? And then I thought, in actual fact, when you send your children to school, you actually have no control and no idea about who is getting pictures of your children. Now, if children are doing like PE or, I don't know, they do like drama or dress up or, things like that, do you really want people having those pictures of your children? So that concerned me enough. And then this morning, somebody had actually shared some pictures that they'd been sent from their children's school and put them on their social media feed. So I obviously got to see the pictures of the parent who was genuinely just sharing a picture because her children were on them and they were having a really nice time. But there was obviously lots of other children on there that then I could see. So the reason that I really wanted to do this video was, number one, just because I was just quite shocked that this actually happens. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, and if there's any way that it's monitored differently in different schools to make sure that, the parents don't get pictures of your children. Because as I pointed out to the person who said about how, illiterate child abusers are free to home educate their children with no, regulations in place, that unfortunately illiterate child abusers can also send their children to school. And just because a parent is a parent of a child in your kid's class or your kid's school, sadly, it doesn't mean that they are like you. It doesn't mean that they take those pictures for what they're intended for. And furthermore, you don't know who they're distributing those pictures to. So I think really it's just to say that, to anybody who has that belief about home educators, sometimes I think you do just have to take a step back and think that actually, as I did respond in the comments, predatory behaviour, abusive behaviour, absolutely just horrific treatment of children can go on all the time. And in my opinion, in that respect, with the whole picture thing, the schools are really not helping that. I wouldn't want pictures of my children going to other people. When we go to like indoor play areas during the week and things like that, there are actually signs up in our local ones saying that you can't take pictures, please don't take pictures of children in this area. And I actually know somebody who saw somebody actually taking a picture, and she went over to them and said, I'm really sorry to be rude, but could I just see that picture that you've taken? Because I think my daughter was in it, because obviously she was coming down the slide at the same time. And the lady showed her, and obviously, her daughter was in it. And she said, with respect, would you mind deleting it? Or can you crop it now and then delete the original image? Because I don't know who you are, and I don't really want you having pictures of my children. So obviously, when parents are there and you can monitor it, it's fine. Maybe you're asked at school if you'll sign a consent form to allow this to happen. I don't know how it works. But just really an FYI for anybody, just really to show the alternate side of the coin, for anybody who's kind of down on home education or that's like a belief about home educators that they have. So as always, really interested to hear your comments, really interested to hear your views. Please feel free to just pop, a message, pop anything down in the comments. And just let me know what you think and let me know your feedback.